6 months ago, if Kamrui had asked me to review a mini PC with a processor from 2022, 4 Zen Plus cores, Vega graphics, single channel memory, and a SATA SSD, I probably would have passed. On paper, this thing sounds outdated before it even ships, but the PC market has changed, and it's changed fast. Not long ago, I was looking at budget mini PCs with 32 gigabytes of DDR5, a terabyte of NVMe storage, and surprisingly modern processors at prices that almost felt too good to be true. Now, that same RAM and storage combination can cost more than some of those entire machines used to sell for. So manufacturers are having to make some real choices. Do they keep chasing newer chips and watch prices climb out of reach for the budget buyer, or do they reach back into older, cheaper hardware and try to build something that still makes sense for basic productivity, web apps, cloud-based workflows, and home office use? And that's where this comes in, the Kamrui Pinova P1, powered by the AMD Ryzen Embedded R2544. And yes, this is absolutely an entry-level mini PC. It runs a single 16GB SODIMM. It has 512GB SATA SSD. It's not as power efficient as Intel's N series chips, and it's years behind something like a Ryzen 7530U, but it also has more CPU muscle than the lowest end Intel boxes, better integrated graphics, and maybe most importantly right now, it might represent the new reality of what affordable actually looks like in 2026. Think about who actually buys a machine like this: a small business picking up a few units for front desk or back office work, a parent setting up a dedicated homework station, someone who needs a second PC that just works and doesn't need to be impressive. And that's the real test here. So today we're going to find out whether this is a clever cost-cutting move that still gives those buyers a usable machine, or if Kamrui went a little too far into the parts bin.
It's the money.
Unboxing is pretty standard for this class of mini PC. You slide out the outer sleeve, open the box, and the mini PC is right on top, wrapped and cradled in the packaging. Underneath it, there are two smaller boxes with the accessories: a 65-watt external power supply, an HDMI cable, a VESA mount, and the user guide. One thing I'll note on the unit itself, there's a copper-colored accent band around the top that at first glance almost reads as a metal heatsink. It's not, it's purely cosmetic. I mention it because it does make the P1 look slightly more premium on a desk than the price suggests. Now, let's talk about what's actually inside the machine. The Pinova P1 is powered by the AMD Ryzen Embedded R2544, an older Picasso-era embedded processor with 4 cores and 8 threads, built on AMD Zen Plus architecture. It has a base clock of 3.35 GHz and a max boost clock of 3.7 GHz. Officially, this chip supports a configurable TDP range of 35 to 54 watts, but Kamrui appears to cap the CPU package power at around 28 watts in this system. For graphics, the R2544 uses Radeon Vega 8 integrated graphics, and that's not something I've had to say in a while, but it's still meaningfully more capable than what you get from the lowest end Intel N series mini PCs. Memory is one of the P1's more notable trade-offs. The R2544 supports dual channel memory, but Kamrui equipped the P1 with a single 16GB DDR4 SODIMM. Now, that keeps costs down, but it also means the system runs in single channel mode out of the box, and that can limit both CPU performance and integrated graphics performance. That said, the P1 does have an open SODIMM slot, so dropping in a second 16GB stick down the road is a real option, but at today's prices, that's roughly a $100 upgrade. But it would unlock the full dual channel configuration and close most of that performance gap. For storage, the Kamrui uses a 512GB M.2 SATA SSD rather than an NVMe drive. There's also a second M.2 slot for storage expansion, wired for PCIe Gen 3x4, so if you want faster storage down the road, that path is open. Wireless connectivity comes from a Realtek M.2 module with Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 4.2. On the I/O side, the front of the unit has the power button, headphone jack, 2 5GB USB Type-A ports, and a 10GB USB 3.2 Type-C port with DisplayPort Alt mode. Around back, there are 4 more 5GB USB Type-A ports, a gigabit Ethernet port, DisplayPort 1.4, and HDMI 2.0. Between the rear video outputs and that front USB-C port, the P1 supports up to 3 displays simultaneously. The chassis is ABS plastic. That top copper accent section also serves as the CPU cooler intake with hot air exhausting out the side of the chassis. At the time of filming, the Kamrui P1 is available on Amazon for $340. Is that too expensive? You don't like that price? I don't know. But setup is straightforward. Connect your display, keyboard, and mouse, plug in the 65-watt power supply, and power it on. There's a big yellow sticker on the unit recommending you skip Ethernet during the initial Windows setup, and you'll want to heed that advice. On first boot, I tapped delete to enter the UEFI. It's fairly minimal. The main thing I was looking for and didn't find was any selectable power profile or configurable TDP settings. That means power management on the system is handled inside Windows rather than at the firmware level, which is worth noting if you're the type who likes to tune things at the BIOS level. The P1 comes preloaded with Windows 11 Pro. After the initial restart, it dropped into the standard Windows 11 setup process. By keeping the system offline during setup, I bypassed both the Microsoft account login requirement and the Windows update phase, which is horrible and can sometimes stall or run for hours. Setup was clean and uneventful. Once it completed, the P1 booted into a standard Windows 11 desktop with no obvious manufacturer added bloatware, just the usual Microsoft included bloat that comes with any Windows install. Device Manager showed all hardware detected properly with every driver installed and working. The P1 shipped with Windows 11 version 24H2, but on the first Windows update cycle, it moved straight to version 25H2. Now, in terms of competition, the Pinova P1 is going up against the Intel N150 equipped mini PC systems like the Beelink EQ14, and even though the 2544 is older silicon, it does bring some real advantages to that matchup on paper. 4 cores and 8 threads versus the N150's efficiency core design and Radeon Vega 8 graphics that outclass what Intel offers at the low end of the Alder Lake N and Twin Lake N lineup. But the way Kamrui configured the system matters a lot. The 2544 is officially a 45-watt part with a configurable range from 35 to 54 watts. In the Pinova P1, Kamrui caps package power at around 28 watts, which is below the chip's official minimum configurable TDP. Now, that doesn't mean performance would scale cleanly all the way up to 45 watts. If you remove that limit, most processors hit a point of diminishing returns where extra watts yield less and less additional performance, but it does mean the chip is operating below its intended sustained power envelope, and that has real implications for heavier CPU workloads. Memory configuration is the other constraint. Both the Beelink EQ14 and Kamrui P1 ship with single-channel memory. The difference is that the N150 was designed around a single-channel operation. It's essentially the native configuration for the chip. The R2544 is a dual-channel processor. Running it with one SODIMM means leaving some CPU and integrated graphics performance on the table. So let's look how that plays out in testing. Now, all results are with both systems set to best performance mode, starting with raw CPU performance in Geekbench 6. The Age of Zen Plus architecture shows up here. The R2544 scores about 10% lower than the N150 in single core performance, and despite having 4 cores and 8 threads, it still falls behind the N150 in multi-core. Now, that gap isn't purely an architectural story. The single channel memory configuration and Kamrui's power cap are both contributing factors here. Where the P1 pulls ahead clearly is GPU compute. In Geekbench 6 GPU, the Vega 8 integrated graphics score roughly 180% higher than Intel's entry-level integrated graphics in the N150. Now, that's a substantial gap, and it shows up in real workloads. To put it in practical terms, if you're running a second or third display, doing light photo editing, or occasionally playing a casual game, the difference between those two integrated graphics solutions is actually noticeable. The Vega 8 isn't going to impress anyone coming from a discrete GPU, but it's genuinely more capable than what you find in most mini PCs at this price point. For the kind of work these systems are actually built for, documents, spreadsheets, web browsing, video calls, the Procyon Office productivity benchmark puts the two machines within about 2% of each other. Now, that's not a meaningful difference in day-to-day use. The P1 is likely being held back slightly by the single channel memory and the slower SATA SSD, but for normal office work and cloud-based workflows, both systems feel comparable. The gap opens up more noticeably in lighter creativity workloads. In the Procyon photo editing benchmark, the P1 scores 22% higher than the EQ14 in Photoshop, and in the more GPU-intensive Premiere Pro test, it pulls 30% ahead. So the performance story is a bit mixed. The R2544 is older, it's power limited, and it's constrained by single-channel memory, but even with all of that, the P1 holds its own in everyday productivity against the N150 system, and it has a real measurable advantage in graphics-heavy light creativity work. Now, earlier I mentioned that Kamrui runs the P1 below the R2544's official power range, and that tuning decision is actually a big part of why I chose the Beelink EQ14 as the comparison system for this review. Despite using very different chips, one a modern low-power Intel efficiency design and the other an older AMD embedded processor running below its rated TDP, Kamrui seems to have deliberately tuned the P1 to land in a similar operating zone. In Cinebench 2024 multi-core, the Beelink EQ14 sustained about 24 watts at the wall and scored 177 points. The Kamrui P1 sustained about 31 watts and scored 208 points. Working that out as system level performance per watt, the P1 comes in around 6.7 points per watt, only about 5% behind the EQ14. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't expect that. For a chip that's architecturally older and not designed with modern efficiency in mind, landing within 5% of a purpose-built Intel efficiency processor is generally surprising result, and it's largely a consequence of Kamrui keeping the power target low. That conservative power limit also keeps thermals well under control. Under sustained load, the CPU peaked at 82 degrees Celsius before settling into a steady 65 degrees. And because the system isn't pushing anywhere near the chip's official power ceiling, the fan stays very quiet. Under load, the P1 is about as quiet as the EQ14, barely audible in normal use. So the reduced power limit does cost the R2544 some of its ceiling performance, but it also makes the P1 behave much like more modern entry-level mini PCs. Modest power draw, controlled temperatures, and very little noise. Now, coming back to where we started 6 months ago, I probably would have dismissed this almost immediately. A new mini PC built on an older embedded Ryzen chip, Zen Plus cores, Vega graphics, single-channel DDR4, and a SATA SSD doesn't exactly sound compelling in a market that was recently full of budget systems with newer processors, faster storage, and more memory. But that market isn't the same anymore. The Beelink EQ14 originally launched under $200. Something like the Pinova P1 would have been priced similarly not long ago. Now, with component costs pushing upwards, that class of system has moved much closer to $400, and that changes how you have to evaluate what's in front of you. At the time of filming, the Kamrui Pinova P1 comes in about $40 cheaper than the EQ14. When you consider that 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 512 gigabyte SATA SSD can account to close to $180 of the system's retail bill at current prices, add in a 35% tariff per unit, and you get a pretty clear picture of where the budget PC space actually is right now. Kamrui isn't paying retail for those components, but the broader point stands. The cheap PC category is getting squeezed hard. In that context, I think Kamrui actually did a reasonable job here. They sourced an older embedded Ryzen processor that surely cost them considerably less than current mobile chips, and built it into a mini PC that isn't heavily cut down in most places. Yes, the single channel memory hurts performance, and yes, the SATA SSD is a cost-cutting choice, and yes, the R2544 is being run well below its official power range. So this isn't what that processor is capable of in a less constrained environment. But the result is still a quiet, low-power, affordable mini PC that covers the daily needs of a very large percentage of general PC users. For home office work, web apps, email, documents, spreadsheets, video calls, cloud-based workflows, and light multitasking, the P1 runs right alongside newer N150 systems. And because the Radeon Vega 8 graphics are still more capable than Intel's entry-level integrated graphics, the P1 actually has an edge in light creative workloads and even some very light gaming. This isn't a hidden powerhouse, and it's not a performance bargain for anyone who needs serious compute. If component prices were still where they were a year ago, I'd be harder on it. But in today's market, the Pinova P1 makes more sense than I expected. Kamrui took older silicon, made some practical trade-offs, tuned it for reasonable power and noise, and landed at a lower price than some of its newer Intel-based competition. That's not flashy, but the most interesting thing about this machine isn't what it is, it's what it says about where the budget PC market has actually landed in 2026. And for the person who just needs a quiet, capable machine on their desk without spending more than they have to, the Pinova P1 is a reasonable answer to an increasingly expensive question.